So, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday Predator Badlands trailer was released to mixed reactions, it seems, online. A lot of people were like, hey, don't like the face. A lot of people were like, hey, it's a female. It's a guy. It's a young guy. Basically, that's the Predator. It's a youngling. Hence why it looks a bit weird as well. I'm not trying to justify it. I do think it looks weird. All right. I knew it was going to be CGI faces, and I said in previous videos, I spoiled it and said, yeah, they're going to do CGI faces. And I think it's a bad idea. But I will say this. I think the CGI offers a great advantage over practical in the way that you can get sort of guttural effects out of the screams and the roars and things. And I think actually in the trailer, they used that to great effect. But the face is weird. They should have changed the face. It's weird. The dreadlocks are weird. It's a weird design choice. All in, it's just a bit odd. I don't hate it 100%, but I also don't love it. Anyway, point of this video is that there is an interview now, because of course the trailer's been released. We've got a release date for the film. So we're going to start getting sort of marketing hype, interview rounds, all these kind of things going to start happening. So we've got an interview with the director that Bloody Disgusting did, and I thought we'd just take a look at it, basically. So hit subscribe if you're new here. Do turn those bell notifications on. But it says this, Bloody Disgusting, Predator Badlands, Dan Trachtenberg previews his big, crazy swing. And there is actually a lot to like in this trailer. A lot of people are like, oh, it's very cartoonish. It's very Disney-fied. That seems to be one of the big complaints. This kind of stuff here is like, it is genuinely straight out of the comics. You know? And the games. And they're loved. It could work. It could fail. Who knows? But a lot of this stuff is not without precedent, is the point I'm trying to make. So it says this. With the upcoming animated anthology movie Predator Killer of Killers, Dan Trachtenberg imagines how Yautja warriors would fare against earthly rivals from different warfare eras. Exciting, right? Well, Predator Badlands is an even bigger swing. As revealed in its first trailer, Trachtenberg's live-action Predator sequel will follow an underdog Yautja Runt in a protagonist role, which is newfound territory for the Predator universe. Again, I don't even hate that as an idea. In addition to sharing the trailer for Predator Badlands, Bloody Disgusting was exclusively shown the first 20-ish minutes of Trachtenberg's upcoming film, with the caveat that footage was unfinished in various VFX stages. We were intimately introduced to the main character, Dek, played in costume and motion capture by Demetrius Schuster Kolamatangi, laying the groundwork for a backward Predator experience where we're rooting for, sympathizing with, and explicitly following a Predator's journey. So his name's Dek. So the sixth Predator live-action film, 8 if you count Alien vs. Predator crossovers, isn't afraid to incorporate extended lore. Quote, one of the cool things about the movies is that we're on Yautja Prime. There's a lot in this movie from the extended universe. It's not, well, from what I remember from my sources, it's not solely on Yautja Prime. This is a futuristic Predator sequel with laser grappling hooks and shinier technology built from the ground up. Dek's spoken Yautja language was developed by the mentee of the fellow who invented Avatar's Na'vi dialect. We insanely decided to treat the language properly, like Elvish for Lord of the Rings or Dothraki for Game of Thrones. Except for those, there's more precedent. So truthfully, the Predator films haven't cared much about continuity. Quote, all the stuff you've seen in other Predator movies, there's no sense of it. None of it was made with intention. Which is true. That is true. Trachtenberg not only decided to make Predator Badlands with intention, but also developed an entire language. He said, quote, I wanted to be very careful that I did not fall into a trap of making something more lore-focused than story-focused. So he joked that about franchises tending to go whole hog into entries about Senate trading committees or other hyper-specific elements where he didn't want his next Predator to be bogged down by Yautja cultural weights. I wanted to make Predator Badlands feel genre, feel very specific, and feel like an inversion of the main premise. Now the Predator is on another planet and he's going to be hunted by things and has to use his guile to survive. So Trachtenberg had precise casting ideals for Dek. We wanted a stunt guy, and that's where Demetrius came in. So Predator Badlands was a real opportunity because of all other Predators needed to be 7'6". It's very specific. So he says, Dek opened the door further to casting a proper stunt as a Yautja, presumably like if Jean-Claude Van Damme hadn't been famously fired in 1987's original. So I'm guessing, again, because he's young and a runt, and that's why. One of our castings, Demetrius came up, and the way he moved had a great swashbuckle. We set up a physical obstacle course, and that's how we cast him. What I would give to see is the footage of actors competing in Predator Ninja Warrior for the lead in Predator Badlands, but it wasn't just about agility and stamina. Trachtenberg continues, I was not prepared for what he does dramatically. I could not believe it. How did we luck into this guy? The eager actor invested himself in the world of Predator Badlands, learning an imaginary Yautja language and bringing immense passion to the part despite his face never being on camera. That was a highlight brought upon by unfinished visual effects. We could see the facial intensity covered in painted dots that would eventually become Dek's signature Yautja profile. And I'm guessing that's why, actually, because this is a man's face, so that's why it looks more like a man. That's probably why. Which is a bad idea, to be honest. Anyway, so now, presumably don't fret, Predator Badlands will feature substantial digital effects because of the film's otherworldly nature. Quote, every shot's a visual effects shot. I thought I had a lot of effects shot in Prey, but this is nuts. There's no disrespect to the phenomenal practical effects displayed over the years. Through spine-ripping gore and fantastic Yautja costumes, Trachtenberg reflected on the friendship he built with SFX wizard Alec Gillis, an influential part of the Predator franchise, who ended up working with legendary creative studio Weta Workshop to collaborate on the movie magic of blending practical and digital designs. So, it says further, Predator Badlands relies on Yautja VFX because Stan Winston's superior headpieces come with practical limitations in the facial region, which is true. Where mechanics would open mandibles and raise eyebrows, Trachtenberg requires more emotiveness, given Dek has infinitely more screen time than other Yautjas. Quote, the cool thing about what we're doing is digital effects are meant to match the suit, not match the creature flesh. It's kind of actually heard a lot of this already before. That kind of animated flesh is different than a suit, so our face perfectly blends in and matches that suit quality. Hopefully it looks like real material. But Dek can't one-to-one mirror the actor's mouth like Andy Serkis, as Gollum or any performer in the newer Planet of the Apes, given how Yautja mandibles operate differently. Demetrius is driving the animation, but it's all been very tricky, and we're thankfully finding our way through it. Whenever Demetrius blinks, we might want that to be an eyebrow movement, or how his smiles and snarls work with the mandibles, different from the mouth inside. So, it's important to note that of the footage, Bloody Disgusting could see nearly 100% polished. Apparently, Predator Badlands looked badass. The opening shot has Dek careening over a glistening landscape, shot top down, Akira style, immediately giving Trachtenberg's vision a fresh visual language compared to other franchise entries. That's interesting. An action sequence follows between Dek and his Yautja brother. Interesting. Training battleground stuff, followed by Dek's prideful desire to select Kalisk as his hunting ground, known as the Death Planet, where he's to prove his unsupportive father wrong. Dek's ultimately fighting for acceptance in his own clan, with his own bloodline, and if his fight with Kalisk's first challenge says anything, where he defends against an onslaught of forest murder vines, Dek is a formidable warrior with everything to prove. That's interesting. So we start the movie on Yautja Prime, and then we go to Kalisk, which is a death planet. Huh. Interesting stuff. So Trachtenberg's list of influences on Predator Badlands will have action Die Hard salivating. There's a Frank Frazetta, Conan the Barbarian, Spartan thing. But also, you think of the Book of Eli, Mad Max 2, Shane, Clint Eastwood. Dek even starts to resemble Conan or Drax the Destroyer later on. The filmmaker went on to detail how happily he was with Prey's execution, but wanted to push Predator Badlands even further, and mentioned Terrence Malick when recalling his shooting style on set in New Zealand. We were out in the wilderness with hip waders in trenches with eels and all of that 90% of the shoot, but things were also augmented. So The word grounded was also tossed around. We need a better word than grounded, but it's hard to find. So there's an adventurousness and vibrancy to Predator Badlands that's not always present in Predator films. Entries have uniformly been driven, more sort of action-centric than horror-forward, but this continuation feels more story-driven. Quote, "I never thought the Predator was Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger," explains Trachtenberg. "Predators had a code, like Hitmen or crime underworld Goodfellas. I felt like there was something cool to explore within that culture that's different than just adding a bunch of stuff on top of it. I felt like we're mining ideas as opposed to just throwing more at the franchise." That's actually quite true, to be fair. The code of ethics, I guess, that they have as a culture has never fully been explored on screen. So if that's what he's looking to do with this, that's good, I think. That's smart. So something we didn't see was Elle Fanning's introduction as Thea, reportedly. Nor is Trachtenberg ready to reveal her origin. When asked if there would be more human interactions than Fanning, the answer was no comment. I want to save the fun. In the slightest of expansions in response to a question about what Trachtenberg learned about developing character arcs from Prey to Badlands, he commented, "Her story has the same roots, but is a bit different thematically and starts to go into a different branch of proving oneself." So Trachtenberg asked if we had any theories about Fanning's top secret character. A fellow journalist suggested she's a hunter from another planet, but someone else noted she has an android-esque mannerism and posed the possible alien to Weyland-Yutani tie-in. Trachtenberg smirked, chuckled, and gave us a sly, "Yes, she does." And we've seen that from the trailer. She is a Weyland-Yutani synthetic. Her eyes rolled back and it had the Weyland-Yutani logo. So, yeah. There's a definite hook to her character that is exciting in the pairing of her and Deck, apparently. But there was this quote as well. As inspired as I am by movies, I've been inspired by video games like Shadow of the Colossus, where you have a protagonist paired with someone else who provides colour and connection. There's a thing with a horse in Shadow of the Colossus that's devastating when you play the game, and so Predator Badlands was a little bit inspired by that in terms of wanting to see the Predator with someone else. This character, who's the opposite of him, he's very laconic. Fanning is not. She's capable in ways that he is not. Physically, she's got a real thing that I'm so excited for you guys to see, but I want to let eventually some of that speak for itself. So there you go. I don't think there's anything else. It's a great poster. I love the poster. First hunt, last chance. And that's because he chooses that planet. Interesting. I'm keen for this. I'm keen for it. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. I'm also really keen to see Yautja Prime, the homeworld. That's going to be wicked. So leave your thoughts down below. Take care. Bye-bye now.